Ready?
Almost. I just lost my connection. Hi, Secretary. How are you?
Good. I can start without you, can't I?
Yeah.
Well, good morning, everyone. Looks like the crowd gets a little bit smaller and smaller. Now we're finding out who really cares about election process. But before we get started, I just want to say a few words. First off, if you look at Georgia, the last several years, we have more days to vote early than virtually any other state in the union. And you also look at, we're pushing 70% of all the people that voted early. And then if you look at, we now have photo ID for all forms of voting. 2 years ago, I wrote a letter to Congress and I gave them a 4-point plan on what they could do to improve the process. And so I want to just reiterate, I think what's really important. I think that gives voters confidence. And we want to look at processes that really enhance security, encourage accessibility, and also encourage turnout. I think number one is citizenship verification. We've been very fortunate that we have a partnership with the Department of Driver Services so we can verify citizenship before people get onto the voter rolls. We think that's really important. I asked Congress that they would consider actually making sure and making with their General Assemblies across the nation, making sure that that information is available to every Secretary of State, Lieutenant Governor's office, or whatever board manages the voter rolls, to make sure that only American citizens are on the voter list throughout the entire country. That gives voters confidence. And number two, I do believe that there should be a constitutional amendment, not just at the state level, but at the federal level, to make sure that only Americans vote. What's interesting is that has really strong bipartisan support. It's just sometimes the activists in these political parties don't support it. But I think it's time we really look at something like that. Also, people right now are posting out on the internet about having photo ID. We now use, in effect, photo ID for all forms of voting. We have voter ID for absentee voting. And what that has done is enhanced security, but also elevated people's confidence in the process. When society is so polarized, whenever you can add trust and confidence in the process, that's a good thing. And we think that Congress needs to really consider that and making that a federal law. I think also banning ballot harvesting is really important. Several states have done that. But we think that it should be the person, the voter, that's actually going to vote absentee. They should be the one that's handling the ballot, or a close family member or a health caregiver, as is currently written in the state of Georgia. We think that that has worked well. It enhanced security, but also it gave people confidence in the process. And here's something that you could really say, what does this have to do with election integrity? But it really goes to what builds trust. And what we've done, we've actually had people talk to us. What builds trust is quick results. But also what builds trust is quick lines. We tracked our line. We had an average of 3-minute wait time. At one point, it got down to 1 minute. For virtually about the whole day, also, when you got to the front of that very short line, and there you are in front of the poll worker, you give them your driver's license number. We had check-in times that averaged 49 seconds. Within 5 minutes you were voting, total of 10 minutes, and you were in and out the door. And you looked at the line times, the longest we ever saw was a few that were over 30 minutes, but by and large, it was really quick. People were in and out in 10 minutes. It's a great voter experience. Does that have something to do with really the election integrity process? No. But voting should be fun. And I think voting should be fast. I think that this year when we actually said you had to get the results posted so early, that was really important also. So today is the process of beginning the risk limiting audit. And so we have a whole process that we're going through. And I wanted to make sure that we're following all state laws, and we are, because I wanted to make sure that, this is free, fair, and it is free. I checked with, our bingo commissioner, and since there's no money changed hands, we're going to have fun with this today. And it's not a raffle, so don't need to get approval from the sheriffs, but we have a big 20-sided die, is what they say. But anyway, Gabriel Sterling, he loves to be master of ceremony. And since we're having fun today, I just want to let you know that it is some special person's birthday today. Happy birthday, Gabe. The show is yours. Come on up here.
All right, so this is turning into a bit of a ritual now. For the risk limiting audit, we have to begin the process by doing a randomized roll of 20 10-sided dice. And to make sure that there's no rigging of the roll, we randomly draw people's names from this lovely jar with our old burlap on it. This is left over from the peanut poll we used to run at the George Oak Fair. So let's start with the first one. Oh, it's the bingo commissioner, Robert Sinners.
Oh, my goodness.
So roll it and say the number and then slide it to the front. That's an 8. Okay, first number's an 8. And then we've got one of our great election workers, Sierra. You're up. Another 8. Then Jasmine Phelps, come on. We may have enough tonight to repeat, but we'll see. Okay, 6 is the next one. Oh, me, Gabriel's drawing. All right, who's next? Joy, come on up. Hey, I can't talk. I'm running the RLA thing right now. All right, bye. That was a deputy secretary. You always have to take her call. Next one's 8. All right.
3 8s already?
Yeah,
Don't worry, this just
why
happens.
it's random.
Oh, we have an out-of-stater here, Aaron Wilson.
That's allowed?
That's allowed. He's a random human being. So. A 1. All right. Marta. We're really election employee heavy today on this one. This went right in the far corner to right there. William Hamilton. Did he leave? Oh, woo, boo. Okay. All right. The incoming chief of staff, Liz Hausman. Former Fulton commissioner, former Johns Creek City councilman, former school board member. Done a lot of work at all levels.
Looks like a 3.
It looks like a 3 or it's a 3?
It's a 3.
Okay, it's a 3. All right. All right. William Glenn. Come on up. Got a 4. Bradley, where you at? Okay. Zero. Tyrell, come on. I don't know. We may or may not have enough to get all the way through. I'm not sure. Got a 4. Jasmine in here twice, so come on up. That's going to help. Eight. That's feeling weird. All right. And the best elections director in the country, chairman of ERIC, Blake Evans. Eight. Sierra, you're up. Should have brought one of your kids. They could have rolled for you. Got a 3. All right. Miss Keene. Again. 4. Miss Hausman. Again. Don't try to do anything that's random. That's the point. 0. Okay. Let's see. Nicholas. About time. All right. Got 2. All right. Bittersweet. Sam Teasley, where you at? I didn't know it was Blazer Day today, so I apologize. It looks like 1 or is it 1? It's a 1, okay. Then we have Mike Hassinger. A 1. All right. How many more we got?
1 more.
Oh, crap. We were 1 short. I had to put it all back in here. We were 1 short. While I do that, I will ask for prayers for the Georgia Bulldogs this weekend, the Tennessee game. All prayers are appreciated and will be helpful. Okay, let's see. William Glenn, topping us out. While he does this, what this does, this is going to kick off inside the Arlo system to designate the batches. All of our counties have uploaded their ballot manifests, which is where we get the batches from. We have a 2.2% margin, and we've set the risk limit at 5, so it's a 95% confidence, and that'll be somewhere between 200 and 300 batches that have to be counted. But what we're going to do is make every county count at least 1 hand-marked batch and 1 BMD batch, so they all have that muscle memory of doing these audits, basically. And this will reinforce the idea that we know that our outcomes are correct. We know that everybody's votes were counted properly, and the winner is the winner. And we, of course, I think the Secretary mentioned this is a presidential race, which is the only statewide election this year. So there was no choice to be made about this. So we're putting it in now, and this will kick off the audit. And they can begin today if they need to. Blake, you want to come up and kind of walk us through parts of how this is going to go and the timing on it? Blake Evans, our elections director.
All right, so as far as timing goes, most counties will begin tomorrow. All counties have to be done by Tuesday the 19th, so this coming up Tuesday, all counties have to be done. We do have at least 1 county that started today, that is auditing today, that's Bartow County, and so the remainder will start between tomorrow and Tuesday. We do have we give them a little bit of flexibility just because of we have some probate judges that had conferences this week and are getting back into town and are going to be taking care of their audits when they get back. And so this afternoon they'll go in, they'll see their randomly selected batches, and then they'll bring their folks in to begin auditing.
And with that, I guess we'll take any questions you might have around the audits or the outcomes. And anybody over there? Mark, okay, Mark, you're always going to start. Being the elections geek that you are, I appreciate it.
So remember when we did this flipping on in 2020, the margin was so narrow that we counted every ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have a wider margin. We are counting fewer ballots. How many ballots are we counting, and how far will this go toward showing that the result was correct?
Well, obviously the outcome of the audit is intended to show the outcome is correct, as it did in 2020, as it did in 2022, as it did in the primary this year. So we know that this is going to help reinforce people's belief in the outcome. If they don't want to believe it, that's kind of on them. We will not know how many ballots are going to be counted because we're doing batch counting. We could have a batch that could have 100, you could have a batch that could have 1,000. So we won't know how many are counted until we get through the whole process. Does that make sense? We know the number of batches will be between 200 and 300 to get to that limit. Did I explain that right? Okay, good, I did.
So between 200 and 300
Batches, correct. Yes. I mean, they'll be a part of the official count. Now, everybody will be counting something, okay? So they will be doing that. Now, will not be going into the formula, right? The additionals.
Right, so
Come here
the,
and say who you are.
yeah, so the RLA math will select the amount of batches that it requires to statistically, I can't say it today, validate the outcome. And then in addition, Georgia also will select batches so that each county is auditing at least 2 or 2%, whichever is greater.
Right. So, and again, they have to have one that's hand marked and one that's B&B created. So we have both styles of ballots will be included in the audit. Anybody else have any wonderful detailed questions about the audits or the outcomes? Mark, okay, let's keep it going.
So these are basic questions. We talked dice roll, but can you explain what, I know the dice roll sets the seed that determines which batches to pick. Help the public kind of understand how that's.
Well, it seems like you've got it. We have a random number. This way you can't say somebody picked it to kind of direct itself to a specific outcome. By starting off in a random way, you assure the fairness and accuracy of the audit itself. That's basically why you roll the dice. It's a non-computer generated thing. People say, why do you use a random number generator? Because this is truly random, a human being rolling basically a Dungeons and Dragons 10-sided die to come up to the outcome, and having so many of them, it'd be next to impossible. It's impossible to randomly choose that number again and go to a specific goal to get to specific batches so you can say you were rigging the audit itself. All right, is that it? Okay, Mark.
How does this build confidence? How does this help voters be assured that our election was correct?
Well, using the paper ballots now, which we didn't have for 20 years until the 2020 election, this audit, along with the hundreds of other audits that will be done around the country, will show that the outcomes were correct, because when you audit, you're having a human being read the piece of paper and saying, yes, this matches the initial outcome, and we know this. And by doing that, you're taking away the argument that, well, the computers did something, or the black box did something, or somebody hacked the machines. When you do this, and you do it the way we do it, which is very thorough, it should take away all reasonable doubts. That's not to say there will not still be unreasonable doubts out there, and that's just something we have to accept and live with. But this should take away all reasonable doubts that the outcome was the outcome. All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mark.
And that concludes Mark Nisi's TED Talk on audits.